At a shipyard pressed to the water's edge, the workday has no edges at all. Sirens call, cranes roll, 1,000 sparks fall like rain. And then, silence. A breath before everything moves at once. The Allies needed ships, not in months, in weeks. Cargo that could cross a submarine ocean had to be stamped out like parts from a press. So engineers cut a ship into pieces, sections you could build in parallel, indoors, day and night. Flat plates bent to meet. Bulkheads marked in chalk like giant blueprints come to life. Welding instead of rivets. Time saved at every seam. Factories grew wherever a river touched the sea. Rails fed them steel. Schools fed them workers. Men who'd tuned cars learned to tune boilers. Women who'd never held a torch learned to lay a clean bead that could face an Atlantic winter. You can see it in a face like this. Clear eyes, a visor pushed up, gloves scorched at the fingertips. Not a poster, a person. A ship needs thousands of moments like this to exist. The shift doesn't end when daylight does. It doubles. Night crews climb a forest of scaffolds, and the yard turns into a city of light. Steel frames glow. Sparks fall 10 meters to the ways below. Somewhere under that spray is a line of chalk that says what this piece will become when it meets the others. Every section waits on a berth, a long greased runway to the river. Overhead, traveling cranes swing a deckhouse into place, then a bow plate, then a bulkhead with an oval cutout ready to swallow pipes and cables. Even this little window has a job, to make a man's work possible inside a maze where there's barely room to breathe. What comes next looks like theater because a launch is a kind of theater, timed to the minute, choreographed by whistles. But the drama out front is only possible because everything behind the fence worked like a factory. In California, the SS Benjamin Warner stands ready. A miniature Statue of Liberty is unveiled for the record-breaking shipbuilders of Richmond. Henry Kaiser himself is there, the man who becked that assembly line ideas could float. And they do. Cranes clear the way, lines go slack, the sponsor swings. Glass breaks, a sound that never gets old, and 1,000 hands hold their breath. The hull moves. Oak blocks jump. Grease smears into waves. For a moment, the ship seems to fall. Then it turns and finds the river. Sirens answer across the yard, a chorus you can feel in your ribs. This launch marks an ending and a beginning. The last Liberty ship on the Pacific coast. Ahead, bigger, faster victory ships built from the same logic: pieces, pace, precision. The stopwatch is theater. The system is the point. If you follow a finished Liberty out of the yard, you can guess what she will carry before she ever smells salt. Crated engines, rail cars, rations, radios, sometimes the parts of other factories that will wake up on liberated ground. Slow by a warship standard, quick by a quartermaster's hope, and expendable in the cold math of convoy battles, because another would be ready soon. Speed brought problems, and engineers learned fast. Sharp corners on hatch cutouts could start cracks. Steel turned less forgiving in winter seas. So corners became rounded. Crack stoppers sprouted along the deck. Welding procedures changed, and the fixes spread across yards like recipes pinned to a wall. The line did not stop. Look again at the sparks. Each is a second stolen back from the ocean. Who made it possible? People who arrived in the dark and went home in the dark. Teachers who turned blueprints into muscle memory. Riggers who could read the swing of a 30-ton crane. Inspectors whose chalk marks said good or do it again. Some came from farms, some from offices, some from towns that vanished into the wartime map of production. All learned a new way to measure a day, not by hours, but by sections finished. And when the picture of a smiling welder shows up in a newspaper, remember, between the smile and the sea, there were nights of practice, hands that shook the first time a bead burned through, and a foreman who said, "Again, clean, this time it'll hold," because it had to hold. A liberty carries a convoy behind her, even when she sails alone. She carries the promise that supplies will arrive on time, not just in the end. And every delivery is a battle won without a shot fired. So the launches kept coming. War or not, a shipyard is a place that believes in tomorrow, because everything you do today only proves itself when a hull meets water. Assembly lines on land became assembly lines at sea. Richmond's slips pivoted to victory ships, familiar shapes, new numbers, same idea, build faster than the ocean can destroy. Stories of the war love noise, the engines that scream, the guns that talk. This story is about noise that hums, the hiss of a torch, the low roll of a crane, the whisper a ship makes when it finds the river and the river takes it. They didn't win headlines. They won time. And in 1943 and 1944, time was what the Allies needed most. The factory at the water's edge looked temporary, thrown up in a hurry. Its lesson didn't. Prefabrication, standardization, training at scale. 1,000 small improvements that add up to something a convoy can sail behind.